Hello. Hello. Welcome. We're going to talk to some mean people today. We're going to talk about how we talk back to mean people in our life. You know, when I say mean people, I mean, this is when, let me put chapstick on. This is when people are saying unkind things to you. Okay, I'm not going live yet. Welcome to our live. And today we're going to be talking about what we want to say when people say mean things to us. How do we respond? Hello, Brenda. Welcome. We are very happy to be here. We're across platforms, and we're going to have this discussion because I think it's very, very important at this time that we really realize who are the people that are saying the mean things to us, and what do we need to say when people or this person or a person is saying things that is mean, discouraging. We all have that. We go out of our comfort zone. We do something that other people may not like or that we're afraid of. Hello, Angela. Welcome. Hello, Latte. Hello, Mark. So what do we say when people say mean, discouraging, or unkind things to us? Hi, user 866. So how do you respond? Hi, how's it going? How do you respond when people are saying things that are not kind? We live in a world, especially with the internet, right? That people just hide behind their screens and they just say anything. Usually, a lot of times when because I'm on several platforms, when I get hate, it's usually someone that doesn't have a picture, they don't have their own picture, and they go around and they might do that to others. So it's called bullying. Hello, Rose. How are you? Hello, Silver. Welcome. We're so glad you're here. I'm trying to make this so that I'm talking and looking at everyone. I don't want to look at just one person. Hello, Angela. Welcome. So we are getting here. I'm glad to hear that. I'm very glad to hear that. Did you all have a good weekend? Were things going well for you? Okay, so we are letting people arrive before we talk about it. But what we're talking about, who is the meanest person you know? When you think of someone who's mean in your life, can you picture them? Like one person who you know that they're not going to have anything nice to say to you. Can anyone think about that? I'm going to tell a joke about there was a positive farmer and then there was a negative farmer. And then the positive farmer, he was always looking at the bright side of things. And for example, if the sun was out and it was bright and shiny, the positive farmer would say, "Oh, look, it's a beautiful day out today. Our crops are going to get so much sun." And then the negative farmer said, "Yeah, if it keeps it up, it's going to dry everything up." Or if it was raining, the positive farmer would say, "Oh, look, it's raining. Our crops are going to get so much water and nutrition, and they're going to have a good crops this year." And then the negative farmer would say, "Yeah, and if it keeps doing that, it's going to rot the roots." And so then the positive farmer said, "Oh, I'm so glad that I have a healthy family and that things are going well." Hello, Caroline. We have some people from Facebook here. And the negative farmer would say, "Oh, they just bother me all the time and I'm not happy." Hello, Tara. Welcome. And so one day, the positive farmer got a great dog and he was so excited. He paid a lot of money for this dog and he felt hello, Joyce. So he says, "You're not going to believe this dog. It can do anything." So they were in a boat, and the positive farmer was on one side of the boat, and the negative farmer was on the other side of the boat. And so the positive farmer said, "Watch this." So he got a duck. A duck was up in the air. He shot the duck. The duck fell down in the water. The dog jumped out of the water, out of the boat, walked on top of the water, brought the duck all the way back to the boat. And the positive farmer said, "What do you think about that?" And the negative farmer said, "I should have known it. That dog can't even swim." And that's how it is when we have the people in our lives that no matter what we do, it's not enough, it's not right. They always have someone. How many of you have someone like that in your life? If you do, say me. If you have someone or you have had someone in your life, hey, how are you? Have you had anyone in your life and you know that no matter what you do or what you say, it's not going to be right? How many of you, if you have someone like that in your life, say me. If anyone has had anyone like that in your life. Caroline, have you ever had someone? Hello, Gina, how are you? Hi, Lisa, how are you doing today? So if any one of you have ever had anyone in your life, or if you have someone in your life who, no matter what you say or what you do, they have something negative to say. If you do, say me, because that's what we're talking about. We're going to talk about who is the meanest person you know. And I see that our moderator, Anita, has arrived, and she is our favorite moderator. She does a great job, and she keeps everything going smoothly. So, how many of you have ever had someone in your life who, no matter what you say or what you do, they have something mean to say or something discouraging to say? Like you never get it right. If you have someone like that in your life, say me. Let's see. If you have someone like that in your life, or if you've ever had someone like that in your life who, no matter what you do, no matter how you do it, they have something negative to say about it, or about you, or discouraging. Does anyone ever had anyone like that in your life? Say me. Anybody? No one has ever had anyone in their life where they've been like discouraging or mean to you. Dream girl, you said you have. Okay. Anyone else? Anyone else have someone in your life or have had someone in your life? It could be a family, it can be a friend. Tara, in the past. Okay. In the past, you've had someone that no matter what you do, you're kind of like the positive farmer and the negative farmer. You know, when the positive, if you didn't hear the joke about the positive farmer and the negative farmer, when we finally got to where the dog went out of when he had a duck, and he put the dog jumped out of the boat, walked on top of the water, got the duck, walked on top of the water back to the boat, and put the duck in the boat. The negative farmer says, "I should have known it. That dog can't even swim." So no matter what the positive farmer said, the negative farmer had something to say. So I am going to surprise you. This was a trick title. I'm going to ask you, who is the meanest person you've ever known in your life? You have a person in mind. If you do have, you don't have to say who it was. Do you know the meanest person in your life? For some person, it might be parents. Another, it might be teachers or bosses, ex-spouses, bullies. Can you think of someone who's been the meanest person in your life? Because this is a trick question. Your ex, okay? I work a lot with lawyers, and lawyers, a lot of times, they will have an opposing counsel, and they're the worst. I mean, I have actually seen really top litigator lawyers who said, I can't deal with this other lawyer because he's so underhanded and so horrible and so uh, negative. Okay, so who says the cruelest things to you today? If it's not a parent, if it's not a teacher, it's not an ex-spouse, it's not a bully, who do you think it would be? Who do you think is going to be the meanest person? So now I've coached lawyers for over 30 years, and I've learned something. The meanest person in your life isn't another person. You know who it is? It's you. It's you. Mom, you said your mom. Red says me. Yes. The meanest person in your life is you. How many of you have said things about yourself today or thought things that were discouraging to yourself? It's the voice in your head that's always telling you what you did wrong, what you should have done. I could have said that better. I should have said this better, or I should have done this, or should have done that. How many of you people live with that voice? We all do. Always judging and evaluating and telling us what we did. That's the meanest person in our lives, is us. I'll tell you an example. When I was home, where does this come from? Where does all these things we say about us? Your thoughts, right? That's right, Lisa, Tara. Our thoughts about ourselves are terrible. If we would never say the things we think about ourselves to someone else, would we? How many of you can tell yourself the truth that the things that you say to yourself, you would never say even to your worst enemy? Say me. If you really wouldn't say some of the things you say to yourself to someone else, would you? Say me if you would not. Maria, yes. Stacy, hello, Stacy. And who else? See who's up? Yeah, we are the worst offenders. Hi, Marie. Dawn, yes. Hi, Gina. Caroline, me. Gina, me. Yes. Yes. We are, we, I'm going to keep saying we say things to ourselves from the moment we wake up until time to go to bed. How many of you in your lifetime, I'm not saying you said it today, how many of you have ever said, that you did something that was stupid? That was stupid. Oh, that was so stupid. What was I thinking? I was so stupid. That was stupid. How many of you have ever said that about yourself? Would you say that? Who else would you tell was stupid? Who else would you say out loud, you're stupid, or that was stupid? But yet we say that to ourselves all the time. We're so cruel to ourselves. Yes, Linda, we do. We say, oh, that was stupid. I did that wrong. Or you look in the mirror and what do you say? I'm too fat. My face is wrinkly. I'm getting old. Who says that to someone else? So guess what? You are the meanest person you know. You are the meanest person. Now, where does that come from? We get something that I call the invisible rule. But where does the invisible rule come from? The invisible rule is in our thoughts. It's invisible. It's invisible. We can't see it. But how we see it is we look out in our life and we'll see what the invisible rule is telling us. So it starts with what we tell ourselves. Starts off probably, I'll tell you about my invisible rule. In my family, I heard it enough time. You have to be perfect. Why are you questioning yourself? When you do something, you're like, did I do it right? I shouldn't have done that. How many times do we do that to ourselves? I bet you probably don't even notice that you're doing it. It's invisible. You go along throughout your day, and throughout your day, you're saying, you did that wrong. Oh, that was stupid. How did I do that? Oh, I didn't do enough. I'm this. How many of you wake up in the morning and say, hello, you beautiful person? You're so smart and you're intelligent and you're wonderful and you could do anything. I'm so proud of you. You would faint. You would faint if you said that to yourself. Because yes, that's Lisa, we must work on ourselves to heal that because we are our worst enemy. And the thing is that it's invisible and we didn't even know that it was there. How many of you told me when I said, who's the meanest person you know, said yourself? How many said me? How many of you realized that when I talked about who is the meanest person that you know, how many of you know it was you? You didn't. Most of you didn't. And when you saw the title of the talk, how to talk back to the meanest person you know, you didn't think it was you. You were thinking, well, I don't know. I don't think I know anyone who's mean to me. A lot of you started off like, I don't know. Well, they used to be in my life. No, you're in your skin every day saying and criticizing yourself. Again, because LinkedIn is in this audience as well. Lawyers are the worst. They're so critical, perfection. They do the same draft. They do the same thing. They go into court. They do depots and they come back and they say, well, that wasn't good enough. It's never like, that was brilliant. How many of you will say to yourself, that was brilliant? No. You said, well, oh, that was bad. That was mediocre. So you have these invisible rules, like they say things like this. Stop questioning yourself. Why is your life? Why aren't you further in your life? Like by now you should be doing better. Look at so-and-so what they're doing. You're just a loser. You should be perfect. I shouldn't ask for help. You ask for help? Then what kind of person is that if you have to ask for help? Well, boy, you know what? These people don't like me. I better go out of my way to try to make them happy. Or you might say something like, I don't deserve to have love. Do they really love me? I don't believe so. Who would love me? We say those things to ourselves all the time. In order to rest, you're like, oh, I'm so lazy. Or did I do enough? Do I deserve to rest? You're like, do I deserve to have a place on the planet? Do I deserve to be alive? Which sentence have you said to yourself so many times? It might not be any of these, but I'll tell you, if you listen to yourself, there is something you're telling yourself day in, that day out, that is mean and cruel to you. Where does it come from? So when I was a kid, my family, I don't know if they didn't like me or I don't know if I was a terrible kid or whatever, but we weren't born criticizing ourselves. When we're first born, we think we're the cat's meow, like, wow, don't they love me? Everybody loves me. Look at, I'm such a good baby. I'm so cute. And you think everybody's going to like you. And then you find out that you're not so wonderful, right? Who tells you that you're not wonderful? The people around you. They don't say, oh, you're so wonderful. You're so smart. You can do anything. So, and when I was a kid, I wanted to have dance lessons. My parents were, they had money, but it was misappropriated because they were a lot of partying and Cadillacs and stuff like that. But anyway, I wanted to go take dance lessons. They're like, oh, you're so uppity. Like, why would a parent tell their kid they're uppity? We want to say, oh, we want to lift our children up. We want to lift ourselves up. But no, here's what we hear. You're uppity. All the time. My family said, this is just what they were. You're ugly. Compared to my mother, I was ugly. So you're ugly. You're uppity. And I carried that. Oh, and I have a neck. And my mother didn't have a neck. She didn't have a neck. So I was called gooseneck. They're all gone now, and I love them, and I'm not feeling sorry for myself. But they literally called me gooseneck because I had a long neck. Well, now we know that people who have a neck are are graceful. You know what I mean? I'm not ashamed of my neck anymore. But for many years, I was like, oh, I have a gooseneck. Oh, thank you, Kiki. It's just that's what they saw. You know, in our families, I'm telling you, if you have anything that's different from the rest of your family, they're going to criticize you. Isn't that true? Hi, this is no place for a princess. I shine too brightly. Yeah, but if you shine too brightly, or if you have an opinion, if you think too much of ourselves, especially when I grew up, children were to be seen and not heard. So yeah, Rose, your didn't they told you were wonderful? They told you so. Some of us have come from those families where our families build us up, and then some of us come from families that didn't build us up. But we can't use that as an excuse. We can't use that as an excuse to beat ourselves up. Some of the most brilliant attorneys I have ever seen have thoughts about themselves that were terrible. That's great. That's why you're this is no life for a princess. But if people are oppressed or they feel badly about themselves, they are going to say things to you. There's a saying, big people make people feel big around them, and small people make people feel small around them. Have you ever noticed that? So you just have to consider the source. You have to consider, but when you're a kid, you can't consider the source. I had a client, and his parent was big in the military, and this father said to his child, "You're never going to amount to anything." Well, the father is gone, long gone. But what do you think he thinks about every day? What do you think he's fighting against? He's fighting against that saying that you're never going to amount to anything. So we can find ourselves fighting or agreeing with invisible rules and don't even know we're doing it. Yeah, that's what his father said. You're never going to amount to anything. And he's great. I mean, he's in his 60s now, and he has accomplished a lot of things. But he still remembered that, because when we're young, things are imprinted in our brain that we don't even know are there. So people that are perfectionists, why do you think they're perfectionists? What do you think perfectionists do? Perfectionists look at themselves, and everything they do, they pick it apart. How many of you here on this live are perfectionists? You always think you didn't do enough. Right. So, you think that, I mean, you know, a lot of people will say to me, yeah, and yeah, Anita, a lot of people will say to me, well, Pamela, you get up and you put on makeup and you dress up. I mean, I don't even go to the store not dressed, with makeup or stuff. I mean, rarely. And why? Because the invisible rule was that I was ugly. I didn't even know why I was doing it. I didn't know why I felt like, boy, I have to really fix my hair and I have to do all this. Someone who you was told you are, Tara. Yeah. So we have things. Now, I'm going to tell you a story. It's a little, I hope I don't cry telling the story, okay? But it's a story. In my family, there were 4 kids. I'm the only girl, and I was the oldest. And then I had another brother who was only 10 months younger than me. He died about 15 years ago. And then I had another brother who was 3 years younger than me. and he died about 3 years ago, 4 years ago. And then I have my youngest brother who's 10 years younger than me. Okay. So this is my brother that's 3 years younger than me. And my brother who's 10 months younger, there were two boys. There's brothers 10 years younger, 10 months younger than me. And then there's the other brother who's 3 years younger than me. So there were basically 2 years between the two brothers. Well, the brother who was closest to me was a bully. And there's a lot of stories. There's a lot of reasons why he was a bully. I mean, a lot of things, dynamics, dynamics go on in a household. But anyway, my brother, who's close to me, felt he took his frustrations out on his younger brother. How many of you have been in a house or been around people, doesn't have to be a sibling, that when they get frustrated, they take it out on someone? If they had a bad day at work, they can come home and take it out on the people at home. How many of you have done that? Yeah, Anita. Yeah. So you have a bad day and you can't like tell the people at work or whatever, go to HELL or whatever, your mom, Lisa, but you come home and then these people, you can let it all hang out and you can take it out on them. There's another story about the guy, and I'm probably not going to say it right, but anyway, the boss was at work and his boss yelled at him. And so then when he got to his office, he called in this guy that worked for him, and then he yelled and took it out on this guy. So then the guy, he goes home and then he takes it out on his wife. Have you all ever heard this one? And then the wife, she gets upset and she takes it off on her little boy. And the little boy didn't have anybody else, so he kicked the cat. This is called the kick the cat story. How many of you have heard that story? How many of you have heard the kick the cat? So everybody, it goes all the way down, and then the kid doesn't have anybody else to take it out on, and he kicks the cat. Well, my brother, there was a lot of things and dynamic going on in my house. My fiance says I come from a kind of dysfunctional house, but there was somebody said, there was one guy that said, I think it was funny. He said, well, yeah, talk about dysfunctional. My family put the funk in dysfunctional. Has anybody heard that before? So dysfunctional. Okay. So anyway, because of whatever was going on in my house, and I'm not going to go into detail about all that right now, this brother who's closer to my age took it out on our younger brother who was 2 years younger. I mean, and he was like, in many ways, when you're kids, you don't really realize it, but looking back, it was pretty maniacal. I mean, he really delighted in hurting his younger brother, our younger brother, and loved to see him cry. And this brother would cry. So he was bullied. And so my younger brother, in order to adapt, I'm telling you now in hindsight, I didn't know at the time, he created an invisible rule because he had pain and beatings every day. And then my father was beating him too. So what do you think his invisible rule would be for him to adapt? Let me see if anybody can guess. Can anybody guess what a little boy who was beaten all the time, beat up, crying and beaten up, and every day had to deal with it? What do you think his invisible rule would be? Let's see if you all can catch on. He stopped talking. There's a story. I'm getting off the closet. Okay. Not that. But I was thinking about this story, and I think it was Maya Angelou, right? And she had been abused by her mother's boyfriend. Did you all hear that story about that? And she told an uncle, or she told someone what had happened, what he did to her. And then, does anybody ever heard this story about Maya Angelou? So what happened was, shortly after that, the guy who was her mother's boyfriend was found beaten to death. Yeah. So she told it. She was a little girl. She's like 5 years old, or however old she was. You could read the story. But anyway, she was 5 years old or whatever. And this guy, her mother's boyfriend, did what he shouldn't have done to her, and he abused her. And then she told it. And then shortly after that, the man was found, because she came from a family with a lot of uncles and they were all very protective of her. And they found the guy beaten to death. Well, Maya, when she found out that the guy was dead, she blamed herself. What child would not have blamed herself? She blamed herself that she's like, my words could have someone be killed. That's what she said to herself. She's a little girl. She's 5 years old. And you know what? She did not speak for 5 years. She was mute. She was mute for 5 years. She was mute. They couldn't get her to talk. But as a little girl, she knew enough, like, oh, wow, I said these words and then this guy was killed. So I'm not going to ever talk again. And it took a long time before she finally was able to talk. And a good teacher, whatever. But I'm just saying, these things happen and we react however we react. So my question was, if I had a younger brother, what was the word she said? I missed it. Yes. Okay. Someone missed it, so they want me to repeat it. Okay. I'll do it really quickly. So Maya, if you can read the story about Maya's childhood, Maya Angelou, her mother had boyfriend, she was single, and her boyfriend abused her or did inappropriate things to her. And so she was just sharing it with a family member or whatever. And then shortly after that, this guy that had done inappropriate things was found beaten to death. And so once she saw that her words had caused this man to be killed, she didn't speak for 5 years. So I'm probably got the years wrong, but she was 5 years old and very young. And then all of a sudden, she's just stopped talking. And they went to send her to live with her grandmother, and she would not talk. And she was like, if my words make someone be killed or die, I'm not going to ever talk again. So needless to say, I mean, she was like the most prolific and Pulitzer Prize winner and all of that she's been. She had an amazing life. She grew out of that, but the first 5 years, it was years, she refused to speak because of that. So I was asking the question, if someone could help me here. I was telling the story about my younger brother, and my younger brother was always beaten by my other brother, who was a bully. And, we were all kids, and this was just what happened in our household. And there were a lot of extenuating reasons why my brother was a bully. He passed away about 15 years ago. But I said, what do you think the invisible rule was that my youngest brother developed because he was hurt, he was crying, he was beaten all the time? What kind of invisible rule do you think he would have? This is a very important point I'm making here. Very important. I want you to really lean in and find out, because this will help you find your invisible rule. Anybody can think of what would be the invisible rule of someone who was beaten all the time? Okay, I'm going to go around in the circle here again. When you're a child, you can't stop what's going on. My youngest brother couldn't stop his older brother from beating him up. Couldn't stop him. My parents were having their own problems, so they didn't even know what was going on, or they were too involved in their own problems. So my younger brother, he couldn't move, could he? That he deserved it? You're getting close. You're getting close, Lisa. He couldn't move, could he? Could my youngest brother move, even though he's going to be beaten up every day? Yes or no? Could he move? Could he move? He's like 4 or 5 years old. Could he move? No, he couldn't move. Could he beat up his older brother who was beating him? No. No, he had to accept the fact that his older brother was going to beat him up every day. That's right. You're right. All of you are right. Waited his day to pay him back. I'm sure he wished he could have. So he had to develop an invisible rule. You know what his invisible rule was? I figured it out later. Pain was a way of life. I must accept pain. Pain is just what life is. Can you see that? If he wasn't going to go crazy, he had to accept that this was just a fact of life. He had to just go with it. There was nothing he could do. Yes, but we all have invisible rules. This is no life for a princess. We all develop whatever it is that we have to adapt. Every one of us, we have to adapt in our families, and every one of us have to find a way to not be upset. We have to find a way to not be upset with what's going on that's upsetting. It's upsetting. We're not saying it's not upsetting, but we're saying children, because we don't have any choice, they have to calm our nervous system down by accepting it and not being upset about it. So my brother just like, oh, pain is just what I get. For whatever reason, I was born to be hurt all the time. So what do you think happened when he became an adult? What do you think happened when he became an adult with that invisible rule? Let's see what we have here. Let's see. Stephen says that part of our experience, you served 10 years on Millie nonviolent crimes. And associates earned on 1225, part of the homelessness, made it to my in-laws, still struggle, though a lot seems to understand me just by my experience. Okay, good. Yes, Bridget was telling us, Maya Angelou stopped speaking for 5 years of age because she believed that her voice killed the man. Stephen says always protective of himself, acceptance to the abuse. Stephen, you're right. Stephen got it right. My brother accepted the pain and the violence. That's just what life is. That's what invisible rules do. We accept whatever it is. I think I was talking about the other day how if you go and watch these TV shows where they're trying to get you to pay money to help feed the children in Africa, the children are sitting on their mother's laps and they're not crying. They're starving to death, but they're not crying because they learn to adapt to starving to death. They learn to get hungry. They're not going to be, all day. No, they just like, okay, I'm starving. I'm born to starve. Let's see, Bridget. Unwritten rules, unspoken social norms, workplace behaviors, cultural expectation, guide how people act. Okay. So Bridget, this is what Bridget says, right. So my brother, and so this is a story, a real life story about my family and my brother. So my brother had an unbelievably painful life. It was just his birthday, August 1st. He's been gone now 4 years, I think. And so I'm going to try not to cry because he had a painful life. He had all kinds of painful things happen to him. Like one time, he literally had policemen use with a steel toe shoe, kick his front teeth out of his mouth. That's what happened. My brother had unbelievable. Thankfully, in the last 13 years of his life, I was able to bring him to Florida and he got some reprieve, but he had diabetes and, because he abused his body, he got, his leg was amputated. I mean, the pain went on and on and on and on because he didn't know his invisible rule made it okay to hurt and to be painful, have pain. So now fast forward, Now my brother is 60, in his 60s, and he's got cancer, and he's doesn't have much longer to live. And he was a fighter. He's like, I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna make it. But his body was so compromised. Like, he had the one leg, he had the high blood pressure, he had all these things going on. He was diabetic. And so he couldn't even get the chemo or anything that could help him with the cancer. The cancer just ravaged his body. So I was the medical power of attorney for my brother. He was 3 years younger than me. And when before my mother died when she was 41, and she always asked me to keep an eye out for your brother because he was my little brother, right? So I got my brother here. He was here in Florida. He was living in a recovery place, and he was doing well. And then he lost his leg, all of that. So now he doesn't have long to be here on the world, right? And he's like ready to fight to the finish because he's used to accepting pain. He would not accept hospice or any of the things to alleviate the pain, so he wouldn't have to be just like a painful ending to his life. And so I talked to him, and I said to my brother, let me just breathe here a second. Okay. So here my brother is. He's at the end of his life, and he's in pain. He's in pain. They recommended hospice, where they could help him with the pain. No. I was gonna. He didn't want it. So one day I got to sat by him. I said, look, you have accepted pain your entire life. Everything in your life has been painful. Everything. Why don't you accept this help? It does not have to be so painful. Let's have hospice. They're going to help you manage your pain. They're going to make it better for you. And my brother trusted me. And he said, okay, if you think this is what I need to do. So he was in the nursing home. In the nursing home, they want money. They want him to get out of bed and, whatever. And he's just like, he's going away. He's sitting up every day. For what? So they kept trying to talk to him to get him to not accept hospice because it meant more money to them if he didn't. And he agreed. And then the nursing home would come and say, can we talk to you away from your sister? I said, no, we're here. And my brother said, I trust what my sister says. And so he did have a peaceful ending to his life instead of suffering. I've thought about that for many times because at the time I didn't know about the invisible rule. I mean, I knew about it. I knew that he accepted pain, but the degree of it, even to the end of life, he was willing to accept pain. All of us, we all have something, some invisible rule that is telling us, just like his rule was, accept the pain, accept the pain, accept the pain, accept the pain. He felt like that was alive. He was like, okay, I'm alive. I'm accepting pain because that's how he grew up. With lawyers, my clients, they can't make mistakes. If they make a mistake, I have had clients and I had a client, I had to get him out of it almost for a month. He wanted to beat himself up because of something he did in court that caused him to lose. They won't slow down. What about women over 40 or 50 who don't have love? I'm too old. No one wants someone my age, right? My best years are behind me. Anybody over 40, over 50, 60, you think your best years are behind you. Tell yourself that every day. You can be stuck listening to that voice and not even knowing you listen to your voice. I wasted too much time. Now here it is. I'm too old and I wasted my life. Or you might say, I'm not enough. I'm too fat. I'm too skinny. I'm not pretty enough. I'm not handsome. I'm not smart enough. I'm a loser. Everybody's better than me. There's something wrong with me. I'll never change. It's too late. Our words are different, but the invisible rule does the same job. The same job like it did for my brother. It's the same job to have you follow its rule. It made the rule. We were little. And then we made a rule. This is how we survive. And we keep using the rule. I literally had to wash my brain. You know what you talk about brainwash? You are brainwashed. Without knowing your invisible rule, you are brainwashed because it's saying the same thing every day. In fact, I'll tell you something. Remember last week I said we have 6,000 thoughts a day? I found out I was wrong. I admit I was wrong. We have 60,000 thoughts a day. 60,000 thoughts a day. How many of you remember your 60,000 thoughts? But I will tell you that 80 to 90% of those 60,000 thoughts are negative. Negative to you. Saying things to you. You can't do it. You messed that up. You ate too much. You don't have self-control. You're lazy. We all have those voices. I can't ask for help. If I ask for help, I'm a loser. I'm a weakling. So what I'm saying is we can change it. We can brainwash. Let's brainwash ourselves. Brainwash ourselves to tell ourselves good things. I'm going to offer a challenge to you. How many of you are ready for a challenge? Say me, if you're ready to follow a challenge. I'll give you some homework. How many of you ready for a challenge? It's not going to be easy. You know, when I ask you to do something, it's not easy, but it works. Yeah, Bridget, that's true. Okay, you ready to hear the challenge? Okay, so let me just set the stage first. We have 60,000 thoughts a day, right? 60,000 thoughts. 80 to 90% of the thoughts are negative. Say it again over here. We have 60,000 thoughts or so a day, and 80 to 90% of our thoughts are negative. So, do you think you have those thoughts one day and then they go away? You think you have the thoughts on Monday and then you don't have the thoughts on Tuesday? Or you have the thoughts on Monday and you don't have them Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday? How many of you think if you have negative thoughts, 60,000 thoughts, how many days a week do you think you have the negative thoughts? 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, 6 days, or 7 days? Put a number. 7, right, Tara? Yep. 7. Yes, Anita. Yes, 7. Mocha. Yes. This is for a princess. Yes. Yes, Pamela. Lisa. Yes. The thoughts you have on Monday or the bad thoughts you had yesterday are the same thoughts you're going to have tomorrow. So Your assignment is two parts. First part, one day carry a pad of paper with you, and every time you have a thought about yourself that's not positive, would you write down what you said about yourself? How many of you could do that? Say me if you would do this for one day, because the thoughts you have today are the thoughts you're going to have tomorrow and the day after and the day after. So I'm asking you only one day to write down every time you have a bad thought about yourself. Good. Now, after you have the list of what you say, you're going to say it the next day and the next day. So then the rest of the week, you stop yourself from having that thought. You'll try it, Lisa? Good. So it's two parts of the assignment. First thought part is write down on one day every time you think that. Like you might say, boy, that was stupid. Oh, you know what? I should be further along in life. Oh, my life is over. Oh, I don't have anything to look forward to. Oh, I don't look as cute as I should be. So-and-so is cuter than me. Why do they have kids and I don't have kids? Why are they married? What's wrong with me? Why am I alone? Whatever you're saying. How many of you hear me? Do you hear me? You have those thoughts all day long and you don't even know it. You don't even know that you're having these thoughts. And I am telling you, who do you think the biggest bully is to you? Who's the biggest bully to you? Who is the meanest person to you? Tell me, who? The person down the street? Yeah, you are. You're a bully to yourself. You're mean to yourself. And you don't even know it. When somebody says, who's the meanest person? You don't say me, but you are. Yes, right, Silver Vixen. Yep. So the assignment is you are going to one day write down as much as you can. You know, you can't like at the minute, but maybe you're talking to a friend and maybe you're saying, boy, you know what? I'm just not making enough money. I don't know what's wrong with me. Why are they rich and I'm so poor? What do they have that I don't have? How many of you do that? Why are they with somebody and I'm not? I'm to this. Oh, the reason I'm not with somebody is because I'm to this or I'm to that. Or if you're in a relationship and they say something and you're like, oh, that's right, I am a loser. Oh yeah, that's right. He should talk to me that way, or she should talk to me that way because I deserve it. Because, I don't do anything right. I can't do anything right. Everything I try, I mess up. Yeah. So the first day is you write down what you say about yourself. Next day, whenever you say it, you talk back. You talk back. So for example, if you hear your invisible rules saying, oh boy, you're such a loser. You said, know what? I was really good. I graduated from high school or college, or I did this. Think of something that you won. It says, oh, you can never do anything right. I could do a lot of things right. I'm just getting started. You're too old. Oh, I'm 77. I was like, hey, I'm just getting started. My new life has just begun. Yeah. Start talking back to the voice, but you got to find out what you're saying first. So we're putting the link. Here's the invisible rule that you can check it out. You click on the link. I put it in the comments. Anita has shared it because you get to talk to me for free. How many of you like to talk to me for free? Go to the invisible rule. Go to the invisible rule. Click on the link and talk to me. Tell me what's going on. I won't hear. It's private. Just talk to me because I've recreated me for you. Only you don't have to pay me $25,000 for 6 months. that lawyer's baby. So again, last time I'm going to say the assignment. Day one, you write whenever you have a thought or you say something unkind, deprecating, putting yourself down, criticizing yourself, write them all down because you say the same thing to yourself every day. And then after that, when you hear yourself say it, you talk back. That's how you talk to mean people. You don't just listen to it. Oh, yeah, that's right. I am a loser. No, I'm not a loser. I'm a winner. You're 77 and your life is over. No, my life's just beginning. Who's going to love you? I said, I'm going to find someone to love me. And I found someone. Now I'm engaged. We're getting ready to go to Portugal. I've been to Portugal twice. And I said, one day I would like to be with someone I love. I didn't have anybody. I didn't, and guess what? In September, we're going to Portugal. Remember, Anita, you remember he didn't want to travel. Well, he's traveling. His son said, why are you going to Portugal? Because he's not a traveler. His passport had expired. He has got to get his passport going. His son said, why are you going to Portugal? He says, because Pamela wants to go. Yes, you can have your life be how you want it to be, but you've got to change how you talk to yourself. You are capable of everything. So I'm going to say things to you, and I want you to remember them. And I want you to say them to yourself. You are a winner. You are beautiful. Your whole future is in front of you. There's nothing that you cannot accomplish. Happiness and joy and peace and prosperity is yours. All you have to do is open your arms and accept it. You are a winner. Believe in yourself. There's so much ahead of you. There's so much in your future. Those are the things I want you to remember and say to yourself. When those voices say whatever it says, I want you to say these things to you. You are a winner. I am a winner. I am unstoppable. I am capable of anything I want to. I can have my dreams come true. I do not give up on myself. I believe in myself. I am beautiful on the inside and out. How many of you agree with that? Say me, and then we're going to close out. How many of you can believe that's for you? Deserving of love, yes. 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 Rose. Wethington Irish Wolfhounds. Silver. This is no life for a princess. Yes. Say those things to yourself. If you don't say them to yourself, no one else is. And you know what? People will treat you how you treat yourself. Even if you don't say them, they can't hear what you say. They can see that you don't believe in yourself. They can see that you don't think that you're pretty. They can see that you think you're a loser. Turn it. Talk back. Talk back. Don't let the bully in you minimize or deprecate or say anything that's not good for you. So I do lives here on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And then I take Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday off. So come back tomorrow because we are on a movement here. We are a movement of being everything that we can be. And we are not going to let ourselves be pushed down. We're not going to stop. It's at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I'm here every Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And you can come here and we're going to talk about, yes, worthy of abundance and happiness. Yes, yes. My foot is my foot is a work in progress, but I have decided that I'm going to go to Eastern medicine. I'm going to get some acupuncture on my foot. I am not going to, it's better, but I want it to be perfect. Because we're going to be walking all over Portugal. We're going to go to Madrid first. And I want my foot to be good. Plus, I got to go back to Pilates. And I got to start doing more exercise. Thank you all for being here. I will see you tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Thank you, Anita, for being a wonderful moderator. She's always here. She's always faithful. And she's always so positive. And she's always greeting everyone who comes here. And so we're so glad that you're here. Bye, Tara. Bye, Lisa. Appreciate you all being here. All righty. We'll see you later. Good night. Bye-bye. Thank you very much for being here. And I really appreciate you all. Have a great day. Say positive things to yourself, only positive things to yourself, because you deserve it. No more criticizing, especially lawyers. No more perfectionism. No more anxiety and stress. You deserve to have joy, peace, happiness, and wealth. I'll see you tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern Time.